everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today. Before we get started, be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun crafty content we have coming. Now today's video is a little bit different. I saw a video posted by my friend Laura Lambert who talked about how if you put heat tape over a sublimation image, it won't sublimate. And in my brain, I was like, I swear I've put heat tape over images before and never had a problem. So I wanted to test it out for myself just to see if that's what in fact would happen. So I'm going to do two different products. I'm going to do a mug and I'm also going to do a 100% polyester shirt. And we're going to be using this blue heat tape, which I want to say is Craft Express brand. And I've got my little heat tape dispenser. This thing's amazing. I'll link it down below. We're going to press our mug with our Cricut Mug Press, and then we're just going to use our StarCraft heat press for our t-shirt. We're going to do, on the t-shirt, we're going to do different layers of tape. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then in the mug, we're going to do up to 4 layers just to test to see what happens. I'm also going to show you how I print out my designs and how I choose the design for this because I wanted something super colorful. Now, I'm not showing you the designs just yet because I really want you to see how we tested it and see what our results were. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, to test the heat tape theory, we are going to use this butterfly wind spinner design just because it's a lot of colors and I want to use something that's really colorful. So what I'm going to do is download those files and I'm just going to click on the zipped folder and then I'm going to save it into a folder for this project. So in my YouTube folder, I'm going to just create a new folder and we're going to call it heat tape test. And we'll save that design into this folder. Now, you always need to unzip your folders so that you can access the files once they've downloaded. You want to make sure that you open up your folder and it's going to be a zipped or compressed folder. You'll want to extract it by using the extract all option. And I always make sure show extracted files when complete is clicked. Then you're going to click extract. Now this can take a few moments depending on how large your file is. And since this is a design that I'm only going to be using for this tutorial, I'm likely going to go ahead and delete a lot of the files to save space on my computer, but I'll show you that as soon as it's done. Once this one has gone ahead and extracted, the first thing that I always do, I'm going to go back into that original folder and I'm going to delete the zipped folder because again, I'm never going to use these again and I just don't need to keep them for any reason. Now I can close this one and we can go through and find the one that we want to use. Now this is a pretty convoluted folder, so I'm just going to pick one of them and open it and just see if we find one that we like. Now like I said, I want to use something that's really bold and colorful, so I think these butterflies are probably a great option, and I think this one right here, this butterfly 3, is probably the one that's going to work really well because you can see it's got a lot of different colors. It's super bright and bold, so I think that one will work fine. Now, I'm not worried about the fact that it's a weird shape or anything because this is just to test, but I just wanted something that was fun colors. Now, since I know exactly which one I'm going to use, I'm going to go ahead and open it with Inkscape by right-clicking on this, and I'm going to choose Open With, and I'm going to choose Inkscape Vector Graphics Editor. That's a completely free program, and I just find that one really easy to print from because we're going to print one that's big enough for a t-shirt and one for a mug or a tumbler, I'm not sure which. But what I'm going to do is I just click OK. You don't have to change any of those settings. Inkscape's going to open, and then we'll get this printed out in the 2 sizes that we need so that we can test our tape theory. Once this is opened in Inkscape, I like to do one thing first. I always change the document size because I'm printing on an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So I'm going to Document Properties, and sometimes it opens way over here. But all you have to do is just choose the US letter or whatever size you're printing on. So whether you're using A4 paper or whatever, just choose that paper size because you'll need to size your design down. Now we are going to make one that's going to be for a shirt, and I want that one to be a bit bigger. So I'm going to print one on just one sheet of the 8.5 by 11 paper. We're going to go ahead and print this one first, which is really easy. All I'm going to do is go to File and choose Print. And then I want to make sure that I have my ST4000 chosen, which is my sublimation printer. I'm going to go into Preferences and change a few settings. The first thing I do is I change my paper type. I find that using the premium presentation paper matte works really, really well for me, but definitely test out your printer because it may not work as well for you. It just depends. Then I change my quality from standard to high, and then I go under more options and I turn off high speed print. Now, typically with sublimation prints, you do want to mirror your image. However, this image won't matter if it's one way or the other, but I will mirror it just because we're going to go ahead and print it. Now, if you have words, you absolutely want to mirror, but if it's just an image like this with a butterfly and you don't care what side like the orange flower or the green leaf is on, you don't necessarily have to do so, but I will. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and then I'm going to print this out, and then I'll show you how we do the smaller one for our mug. Now we need to size this down to fit on a coffee mug, and for that we need to actually see the sizing because they need to be a little bit smaller. So right here up at the top, you're going to see that you have a width, a lock, and a height option, but you see that the numbers are really big. It's because currently it's measured in pixels, and I want to measure this in inches. So if I go to the drop-down box, I can change that to inches. Now I want to make sure I hit this little lock button, and we're going to do this at 3 inches because we are doing this on a small, like 11-ounce mug. But I'm going to print 2 of these out just so that I have 2 of them, and I can just go to edit, and I can go to copy, and then I can hit edit and paste, and it will give me a second copy. So I have 2 of them. You can also use Control-C or Control-V on your keyboard, whatever works. Now I am going to put these a little bit further apart just so I have some paper kind of on the surrounding them a little bit. That way they're not touching, they're not too close together. We're going to do the same thing where we're going to go in and we're going to go to File, Print, make sure that ST4000 is selected, go to Preferences and change those preferences again to the different paper type from standard to high. Go to more options, high speed print, and then turn on mirror. Click OK and click print. I've got my shirt here with my butterfly print on it. My camera decided to die in the middle of that. So I've got it placed with some heat tape on the corners. This heat tape isn't over the design at all. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and place a piece of heat tape here. That's going to be our single layer. And then I want to do a couple of different layers. So I'm going to do one that's going to have 2 layers of tape. And I'm just going to try to do them in like a grid so it's easy for us to know which tape layer is which. So like this one, I'm going to do 3 layers of tape because I want to see if it is a matter of, are you putting too many layers of tape, or is it actually the tape that's causing the problem? So then this one will have 4 layers of tape, and I think we'll go up to 6 because I think if you put more than 6 layers of tape on something, you are definitely going to have problems. So there's our 4 layers of tape. This one will be 5, and our design is right under these. So there's 2, 3, oops, there's 3. Get a little bit more tape. Here's 4 and 5. Now I have a theory as to which ones will show some wear and which ones won't, because I don't think that putting your heat tape over your design is going to make a huge difference. There's 2, sorry, I gotta count here, 3, and we're gonna do 4. We got 2 more, 5 and 6. Now we're gonna press this shirt just like we would any other shirt. We're gonna press it at 400 degrees for 60 seconds. Again, with butcher paper both over it and under it, since there is a print on the other side. Now I'm gonna get the mug set up too so that we can press that one as well. Now we also want to try this on a mug, so we're using an 11-ounce sublimation mug, and I'm going to cut my designs apart here. And I'm just going to trim them down a bit. Now these are a bit smaller, so we're not going to probably be able to do 6 layers of tape, but I want to do at least 2 just to see if it affects it. I don't think, like I said, I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out. I've heard different theories on it. I have my own experience, but I'm excited to see what happens here. I'm going to trim this down just a little bit more just because I think it's a little off. All right. Now, again, I don't care if these are centered because we're just testing. So I'm just going to try to make sure that I get them to a point where they're going to be on the mug. And I do want to put it a little bit, try to get it like somewhat centered just so that the handle isn't going to affect anything. And I'm gonna go ahead and put tape on the edge, just like I always do. So we'll get a little piece of tape there, and then we'll do a piece of tape over here. And then we're gonna put one layer of tape up here, and then I'm gonna do 2 layers of tape down here under the image here. That way you can see if those affected. And then on this side, we'll do 3 and 4 layers of tape. I'm gonna trim this off a little bit just so I can fit it a little further away. And again, we'll do the same thing. Hopefully they're facing the right way. So again, I'll just line it up on my mug. It's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put that tape on. So we're gonna do 3 and 4 layers. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, and then this other one needs 4 pieces of tape right under it. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm gonna put some butcher paper around the mug, which always wanna do that. And I will trim this down if I feel like it, but sometimes you don't necessarily have to. I'll trim the edge down a little bit just because it is a little bit too long for the mug, but I don't tend to trim the top off. I don't really mind if the top doesn't fit perfectly, it's fine. And again, we will put some tape on this to hold this on to the mug just so it doesn't like slide off. And I'm just gonna get it, you wanna get it so that like the butcher paper isn't kind of going over the bottom of the mug, but this tape isn't touching any of our images, so it's not gonna affect any of the trial here. And then I'm just gonna tape it on this edge. And you do wanna try to make sure you get the butcher paper pretty tight. So I'm gonna pull that pretty tight, and then I wanna tape it down. And then, like I said, you can cut this off if you want to. You don't necessarily have to. I'll sometimes just trim it down a bit because that's enough to make another mug. So I'll just save that for later because you can see that if I use this piece again, got enough for another mug. So I like to save those. Now we're gonna use our Cricut Mug Press for this because it's just convenient, it's easy, it's quick. So I'm gonna get that out and show you that next part. Our mug press is ready. So what you're gonna do is place your mug in the press, and you want to try to keep this handle pretty well centered on the door here, and then just close your press. Now it might feel like you're gonna break your mug. You won't. It just feels really tight because it needs to be tight in order to press. I'm gonna let this go ahead, press our mug, and then we can take a look and see what it looks like when it's done. Once your mug is done, it'll beep. You go ahead and open up the little door thing and then pull your mug out. Now you may see some burning on the top of the paper. That is completely normal. I'm gonna go ahead and get the heat tape and the butcher paper off. Keep in mind your mug is hot. The handle is not though, so it's really nice. All right, we're gonna pull this side off, and I'm gonna try to remember what side is what. So this side is the side that has the 3 and the 4. So that's on the handle with the, well, I don't know which direction, left if you're holding the handle to the left. And then this one is the one that has the 2 and the 1. I don't see a difference at all. I'm gonna let this cool down though, and then I'll get a nice up close view so you can see it. But this is the one that has the 2 and the 1, and then the one on this back has the 3 and the 4, and that is for me so that I remember later. We're gonna press the shirt with the tape test this time, so I just wanna show you that we have all of our tape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, with our butterfly image under it. I'm gonna go ahead and put this down, and we're gonna press this for 400 degrees for 60 seconds with a medium to firm pressure. It's almost done, so we're gonna go ahead and pull this up. And I prefer to take my designs off pretty quickly. I don't like to let the paper sit, but it is super hot, so you do want to be careful. My fingers pretty much have no feeling anymore. And truly, I don't see a difference as to where any of that tape was. Now I'm going to take this over to the table, and I'll show you what both look like up close so we can really get a good look. Now, as you can see, there's no tape issue. I don't see any shadowing or anything from where I had the tape. So if you're having that problem, my best guess is that your print is not being pressed to your blank, whether it's a shirt, a mug, whatever it may be. You may have a wrinkle, you may have not enough pressure, maybe not enough heat, but you can see that this came out absolutely perfect with no issues whatsoever. Now, if you are having tape issues, please let me know what tape you're using down below, because I'd love to see if maybe it's a tape thing, because the tape I use, obviously no problems, and I'll link my tape down below for you if you want to check it out. Now, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always always happy to answer those for you. And if you have any suggestions on things you'd like me to try out for you, let me know there too, because I love to try out things that you guys are struggling with. Be sure that you're subscribed here, that way you don't miss out on any of the other DIY content I have coming. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.